Last week, I watched the movie Young Washington, and while everyone is talking about the history, which is valid, I kind of want to cover the spiritual part that I noticed as a Christian. Now, there are going to be some spoilers in this little segment, but if you don't mind, then keep watching. Young Washington, played by William Franklin Miller, is essentially drawn to the British Gentlemen's Committee. This is where he ultimately volunteers to scout some land for the leader, played by Ben Kingsley. Now, when he goes to scout this land with a friend, they run into the French thanks to some Indians or Native Americans that were nearby. He goes back to the leader and he essentially says, "Hey, the French are on our land. We need to do something about it. How about I lead the clan, lead my men, and we go and just tell them to leave peacefully," he thought. Side note, this film does a remarkable job with getting the point of view for the Indians, the French, and the British. Now, going back to the spiritual connection, what I found really interesting is the connection of George Washington and King David. Let me cook real quick. The first time Washington goes and leads his men into combat, they lose. So now a war has officially started, and Washington goes back to the leader and he says, "Look, I can't do this. Hire somebody else. Clearly, I'm not fit for this." So then he goes back home and he visits his mom, and his mom is like, "You know what? Maybe this is your assignment. Maybe this is what God has you doing, okay?" And Washington is like, "You know what? You are right. Like, this is my calling. This is what I'm supposed to do." So Washington eventually goes back to the front lines, not leading just yet, but he does say, "Hey, I'm going to stay at the front this time. I'm not going to chicken out. I'm going to combat and do what I have to do to get this dub." But the hidden theology for me was the fact that Washington doubted at first, just like King David. If you read all of the Psalms, you see that David was doubting that he was king. He was doubting that he was fit to be king. But ultimately, he trusted the higher authority, which is God, and Washington trusted his high authority, which was his mother. And I feel like that really mirrors into the Christianity realm significantly. King David not only combated Goliath, but faced so much spiritual warfare and lost so many men along the way, just like George Washington. I think the real picture behind the story of David and the story of George Washington highlight two things. One, we cannot rely on our own strength to overcome spiritual or physical warfare. In this case, George Washington's mother strengthened him, which she had a higher authority of him. In David's case, God strengthened him, which obviously he had a higher authority over David. Two, if it's in God's will, he will make a way. If he brought you to it, he will bring you through it. Can I get an amen? Seriously though, if you guys haven't seen this movie, I highly recommend. It is in theaters now. It came out on the 4th of July, which is when I saw it. What movie or TV show should I do next?